We are now going to use image trace to convert raster images into editable vector art. In this part of the lesson, you're going to learn how to work with image trace command, which converts those images like a JPEG into editable vector artwork. Tracing can help turn something you drew on paper, for instance, a logo, a pattern or texture, or a hand-drawn type into editable vector art. In this section, you'll give the bird a stick to perch on. You'll trace a picture of a stick to get shapes. So let's choose File, what in the world? File, hang on. There. File and then Place. And we're going to select the stick JPEG and then click Place. Leave everything else like it was. Click in any part of the artboard to place the image. Don't worry if it doesn't fit on the artboard. To center the image in the document window, click View, zoom a few times. Alright, so now mine's centered in the window. With the image selected, click the Image Trace button in the Properties panel, right over here. It's where it says Image Trace. And choose Low Fidelity Photo from the menu. Right here. A low fidelity photo. That's what we want. And you see our thing did some stuff to it. This converts the image into an image tracing object. That means you can't edit the vector content yet, but you can change the tracing settings. You could even edit the image in Photoshop and you'll see the changes to the tracing if the image is linked to the Illustrator file. Remember how we did those things? Alright, so in the Properties panel we are going to choose Silhouette. Silhouettes. The Silhouettes preset will trace the image, forcing the resulting vector content to turn black. This setting is useful when you want to get the main shape from tracing. An image tracing object comprises the source image and the tracing result, which is the vector artwork. By default, only the tracing result is visible. However, you can change the display of both the original image and the tracing result to best suit your needs in the View menu you will see in the Image Trace panel. Click the Open Image Trace Panel button in the Properties panel, which is right here. So click that. The buttons at the top of the image panel are converting the image to grayscale, black and white, and more. Below the buttons at the top, you'll see the preset menu. This menu is the same as in the Properties panel. The Mode menu allows you to change the color mode of the resulting artwork, color, grayscale, or black and white. The Palette menu is also helpful in limiting the color palette or assigning colors from a color group. In the Image Trace panel, let me move this over here. Click the triangle to the left of the Advanced option to reveal that. Move it up again. Change the following options in the Image Trace panel. So threshold, we want that to be 230. That's the default setting. Paths, we want to be 95%. 95. Corners, 80%. Higher means more corners. Noise 90px, which is the default setting, reducing noise by ignoring other areas. Alright, so close this Image Trace panel. With the stick tracing object still selected, click the Expand button in the Properties panel right here. The stick is no longer an image tracing object, but is composed of shapes and paths that are grouped together. Since the stick image has been converted to shapes using the image trace command, you can now refine the shapes to make the stick look better. With the stick artwork still selected, click the Ungroup button right there. That breaks apart the different shapes, and we're going to edit them separately. Deselect the artwork by Select, Deselect. With the Selection tool, click the Selection tool. Click the extra stick up here at the top. Press Delete or Backspace to delete that. Click the shape to select it. To change the color, click the Fill Color button in the Properties panel. Make sure the Swatches option is open. Select a brown color to fill the shape. To make the edges a little bit smoother, you'll apply the Simplify command. The Simplify command reduces the number of anchor points that the path is made of without affecting the overall shape too much. So, choose Object, and then Path, and then Simplify. Simplify. In the Simplify options that appear, by default the Reduce Anchor Point slider is set to an auto-simplified value. Drag the slider to the left to remove a few more points. So we can drag that, and you can see this. Alright, dragging the slider to the left reduces anchor points and simplifies the path. The closer the slider is to the minimum value on the left, the fewer the anchor points there are, but the path will most likely look different. The closer the slider is to the maximum value, the more it will look like it did before you applied the Simplify command. Click the More options in the Simplify options box to open a dialog box with more options. In the dialog box that opens, make sure Preview is selected. Let me move this over. Make sure Preview is selected so you can see what we're doing. You can see the original number of anchor points. And the number of anchor points after applying the new. Alright. So let's then drag the Simplify curve slider all the way to the right. All the way to the right. This is a great starting point, and the art will look like it did before we applied that command. Drag the slider to the left until you see New 20 points. Hang on. You'll need to drag a little and then release to see the new value change, and then click OK. For the last part, you'll move the stick artwork into place, group the bird logo, and move everything into place. So click View, Fit Artboard and Window. Drag the stick over the feet of the bird. To put it behind the bird, click the Arrange button in the Properties panel and send to back. Whoop, 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 whoop. Click the Arrange button again and choose Bring Forward until it is in front of the gray. There we in front of the gray square, but behind the bird. Drag the gray square. Drag across the gray square. So let me fix this. Let me make it look like he's actually on the stick. There you go. There we go. So drag across the gray square, bird, and stick. We want them all selected. Then guess what we're going to do? We are going to group them. And then we're going to drag it into position. So let's get it about right there, shall we? Right about there. All right. And now we're going to choose File and Save. And then click File, Close as many times as necessary to open the file. So this is what you're going to submit to me. Yours obviously is not going to look exactly like mine. It should have the toucan. You should have a stick. It should be sitting on your bird. Your bird should look something similar to this with the feather and the things that we placed in place with this gray square. Alright, so congratulations, you have completed lesson 3. Sorry, I'll go ahead and apologize for all the mistakes I made. But it could be worse. We could be brain buffeting and you'd be complaining because he never messed up.